Welcome back. You're watching Republic TV, and now we're getting you a story of the Congress's latest criticism of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They've claimed that the Prime Minister actually compromised national interest and national security, and this over the Doklam issue, a dispute that's been long settled by successful handling of the issue really of the on the part of the MEA. And now you've got the Congress questioning the government, saying that it was because of the Prime Minister that we almost had China occupying the Doklam plateau. This is a tweet that Randeep Surjewala put out, where he questioned the government, accusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi of compromising with national security and strategic interests. He claims that the government was caught snoozing when China was occupying the Doklam plateau with fresh military installations. So a sensational charge that's come from the Congress, accusing the BJP government and questioning their diplomatic stance on China on the Doklam issue. And this comes at a time, keep in mind, when the government has successfully dealt with the Doklam dispute, has ensured that the standoff ended. Even amidst fresh reports of China once again entering the Doklam plateau, keep in mind the MEA has dismissed it, but you've got the Congress playing politics over the same. Let's go across to our Deputy Editor Snehesh for more details on this. Snehesh, first of all, give us details of really what the Congress has alleged, because what we have to keep in mind is that we've seen the government rather effectively dealing with the Doklam crisis, with the Doklam standoff that we witnessed.
Well, the facts of the ground is that Doklam is not part of the Indian territory. Doklam is a region next to part of Bhutan, which is in dispute between Bhutan and China. So in June is when, over the past few years, the Chinese have been building roads in the Doklam plateau, and India has been observing that. In June this year, they came into the South Doklam plateau, which was very close to the Indian side. And that is when the Indian soldiers entered into a third territory and stopped the Chinese from doing any further construction activity. Now, there was a standoff that ensured, in which there were about 500 soldiers from each side, so were in an eyeball-to-eyeball standoff that took place since June to August. And in August 28th, following hectic backdoor negotiations, diplomatic negotiations, as well as the military negotiations, both sides agreed to withdraw their troops to a particular position. As of now, the troops continue. The declaration that took place on the August 28th remains, which means the status quo, as after the withdrawal, continues to remain. There has been no fresh incursion by the Chinese into any territory that India is concerned about. What the Chinese have done is that they've continued to stay put where they were earlier, where they had withdrawn. So in a way, the status quo remains. But yes, it's a fact that
we seem to have lost that line with Snehesh, but he was just giving us details of what really the locus standi at the Doklam area is currently. Let's go across once again. I understand Snehesh is back with us. Snehesh, you were giving us details of really what the current dispute is, what is the issue right now. It can't even be called a dispute ideally, Snehesh, because this is an issue that is something that the MEA is dealing with diplomatically, and you've got the Congress playing politics over it.
Absolutely. This is an issue which comes under the MEA. And remember, India is not in dispute with China. The dispute is clearly between Bhutan and China. This is not an Indian territory at all. So it is wrong to assume that Chinese have entered the Indian territory. What the Chinese have done is that they are continued to be present in North Doklam side. And this is something that the Indian army as well as the government is completely aware of. There is a negotiation that is on between China and Bhutan over the Doklam area, which is a disputed territory between the two countries. So India really can't do much, because it is something that is happening between two different countries. It's wrong to assume that the Chinese have actually come into an Indian territory, whereas the facts on the ground is that Doklam is not an Indian territory. It is a disputed territory between Bhutan and China.
All right, Snehesh, thanks for getting us those details. So, you know, even as we're seeing the MEA ensure that they deal with this diplomatically, that they keep national interest in mind and ensure the right steps are taken, because keep in mind, we've seen this standoff being resolved very peacefully previously as well. You've got the Congress playing politics, questioning the Prime Minister and claiming that national security is being compromised.